Well, so I'll just start off with this. First of all, thanks for coming. And Carlos Reed just popped in. I'm sure some other people pop in. Mike, if you were from your side of the country, what COVID takeaways what practices are you going to be using? And that, honest to God, like, what did you have to do or maybe not want to do and change? That's kind of the genesis of this quick
Right.
roundtable.
The thing that it pushed us to a year or two in advance probably is digital tickets. We'll never go back to cash at the gate. I love it. It's beautiful. And it's not just us. I mean, it's our area. So there's no educating our opponents. There was the first few times, but everybody's used to it now. There's no cash. We all know the benefits of it, but it's the spring sports and the lesser attended things. I mean, we still do attendance, and we still do. I don't know if you guys do for soccer and lacrosse and things like that. That I'd be trying to get. Everybody has a 20, so on Saturday morning I'm running the bank trying to get 5s because and all those problems are solved.
Right. So I guess my question to you is, I'm sure Carlos and well, number one, and maybe everyone else can weigh in. Which platform are you using?
GoFan is what we use.
In Tennessee, do you guys have a statewide mandate?
No, that's their choice for state championship events is GoFan, but most people were using them before. I think that they went to it reluctantly because that's what most people were familiar with. So I think they're based out of Atlanta, I think, and for some reason they came across my desk before others, and that seems to be, they seem to have the market share here.
Interesting. Let me ask you a question, because how are you handling the people that refuse to use? You know what I'm saying in that transition?
Hadn't happened. Some of the older people, what happens is they're coming to watch their grandson compete, and their son or daughter meets them at the gate and says, "I got you, Mom, no problems," and they'll have it on their phone. I haven't had that. I had a couple people get ugly. It's America. You mean you won't take good old U.S. dollars? That kind of stuff. But I just blame it on the front office. Hey, we're not allowed to handle cash. I'm sorry.
So you're all good. I mean, there's a couple other people that joined. I don't know if they have any conversation. We were always digital for like 5 years because basketball limited seating at De La Salle, at your conference. So, but we definitely are a hybrid right now. A lot of
okay.
Like playoffs, no, just like you in California, but at the same time, cash on hand is not the end of the world for us. So we're kind of, for lack of a better word, we're just rolling with it. But yeah, I would love no cash at the gate ever. How are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing concessions?
Cash. Yeah.
But
our concessions, we don't do our own. They're subbed out to the Boy Scouts at the Catholic school not far from here. So they pay us a fee and then they run our concessions.
All right.
We've always done that. I've gone from paying officials cash money, at halftime, and then all the gates cash to everything digital with Arbiter and GoFan, and it's made it much simpler.
Yeah, well, and there's been multiple people that have come on here, and just to recap, everybody, welcome to the Catholic National Athletic Association. This is kind of a COVID roundtable, not focusing on the negative, but focusing on practical applications that we are going to try to use and implement in our athletic department. Mike Kelly of Christian Brothers out there in Tennessee is talking about GoFan and cashless. I don't know if anyone else is on there has any questions or comments, but Mike, just recap. We're talking. I think most people are using GoFan, but there's other people out there. What problems you may or may not have? I think Mike, you just moved into another topic for me, which is concessions. I got the good old indoor no concessions right now because in California I can't handle the masking because you have to have a vaccination card. I'm not sitting in a door worried about vaccination cards. So we're hosting a tournament this weekend. I can't wait to have hear people say you have no food or drink. It's like, whatever. I don't know if anyone's having any other ticket, digital stuff or concessions or comments. And, again, this is for us to work with each other to find practical applications. We definitely have, I don't know if Mike, if you got it, a lot of people want Venmo. A lot of people are using, we've always had point of purchase situations as well. So we have all three at Del Sauro. Now, cash is like the hidden thing. We only break out for people if they need to. But really between Apple Pay, Venmo, it's kind of, we're just trying to figure out what digital application we're going to use, but GoFan is definitely, or any digital ticketing really is really what is going. You're getting complaints about the surcharge and your students. I guess that'd be a question to everybody. Seems to be a common complaint for a 15-year-old right now. They have $1,000 iPhone, but they don't want to pay $1.25 for a ticket. I don't know if anyone's got into that. Nope. Shannon, while you're here, I mean, I see your face. I don't know, you want to introduce yourself so we know who you are? Be great.
Sure. Shannon Fisher. I'm the athletic director at Marion Mercy Academy in Pennsylvania on the main line near Philadelphia.
That's pretty cool. Welcome. And then I'll just while we have other people, Mike, you want to just introduce yourself because people might not know you?
Sure. I'm Mike Kelly. I'm the athletic director at Christian Brothers High School, all boys in Memphis, Tennessee.
Piper?
Hi, I'm Piper Brewster and the athletic director at Carondelet High School. We're just next door to Leo.
But yet so far away sometimes in boys and girls.
But I don't see you sometimes for a long time.
And I see Carlos Reed down below. I don't know if he can talk. He might be driving, but he's from Bishop O'Dowd in Oakland. Oh, he's coming on.
Yeah, not driving, but getting this boy ready to get up to school right now. So I'm on the phone here. But yeah, hello everyone. Nice to see you.
And then we have Brooke Lund. I'm not sure if Brooke can speak either, but she's on. So, but so basically, we're talking about COVID practical applications, things you're going to carry forward. Does anybody have any suggestions or topics? I mean, I would tell you, I'll just start with communications. That's one of my topics. We've been communicating 1 million times better in the athletic department, but I think we're in the hybrid live versus Zoom sort of theory with our athletic department. Any thoughts on how you've changed, like how you're communicating and how you're going to, well, obviously we had to, right, at one point in time. Any thoughts on how you plan on communicating moving forward, you know, with your coaches, with your whoever, parents? Well, I'll give a suggestion. We're not doing any parent meetings on site in person. It's just like A through Z, pay this, pay that. But we're doing mass and team masses. So we're limiting the amount of like times our coaches have to spend an extra hour and a half on campus / make parents leave work / whatever. But banquets, obviously we're back. Masses, we're back. We never had so many all athletic department meetings monthly now on calendar for us, which I think has actually helped our coaches in a lot of ways. I've offered roundtable discussions monthly to all those assistant coaches who say they know nothing and never hear anything from their head coaches. So I've kind of, I mean, from my perspective, that's probably the one, well, and there's multiple takeaways, but from COVID, I've had to reevaluate how we communicate and why we communicate and when we communicate. So those are sort of the, I guess, in a communication landscape, I think those are some of the ideas that we've actually evolved in, which I probably wouldn't have in COVID. You know, getting our coaches on at a 9 o'clock call at night, I never thought we could do varsity wise, but they would rather 9 to 9:15 after practices, just know what's going on, move on in life, and boom, they're gone. You know, it's kind of, I feel like we might take away the personal touch eventually, but we have coaches that see each other, know each other fairly well. So I'm not there yet, but I don't know if anyone has changed the way they're handling like internal communication or even external communication. I feel like parents are having Zooms all day long on planning. And, you know, I mean, I don't know where you guys are going with it. I know Zoom fatigue was big. We took 2 months off from Catholic National Athletic Association because I felt like everyone was zoomed out. You know what I mean? So we waited until the fall quarter and to move to now. So I think that's, even we've changed as a nonprofit. So I'll just leave the floor open and see if anyone had any thoughts on how and the why you're communicating, you know, and when. And maybe you haven't changed. Maybe you're in Tennessee and everything's still the same. So, or we can move on to, any COVID stuff that you're going to move forward, transportation, anything, parent meetings. I've never taken so many parent meetings and had so many happy parents because we can get it done in 10 minutes on Zoom. So anyways, I like I said, I started this. We wanted to make sure this is not a I hate COVID meeting. This is more of a what can we take away to make better for our world. And I'm just throwing out notes that people would send me. I guess here's one question. If nobody wants to talk about communication, what about locker room? There's a good question. How are you going to handle the locker room, or what are we doing differently during COVID? Maybe you're not. I don't know if anyone's changed anything or has a question on how people are doing things.
So I'll bite on this one. This one's been relevant recently. We last year only used our locker room, and we have one locker room with restrooms at the back. So we use it as a bathroom only. And that was pretty easy to police because we were only allowing so many people in the restroom. This summer, when the question of locker rooms came up, we did not give the girls their own locker. So it has a lock. So they're already locked. So basically they can use it as like a drop off point. And we're not encouraging hanging out, but we're not really saying one thing or another. Like we're not as strict as we were, but we're not taking a black and white stance. So basically they just need to be masked, and we're asking that they not hang out in there. So they're able to change, get in, get out. That's pretty much where we are.
We all know supervision hasn't changed over COVID. Our coaches never supervise like they're supposed to. Anyone else have any thoughts on locker room? I can tell you one thing. Our soccer team has chosen not to use lockers except on game days. Our coaches, they have their backpacks. They can show up. I don't want to deal with it. End of story. So, I mean, I don't know how many cross country, same way. Our school lockers are big enough for them to put their shoes and their shorts, and they just change and they get in and they get out. So I think at least at De La Salle High School, locker room policy is a definite evolution right now. I mean, most of our team meetings are held outdoors now, especially in California. Mike, you're probably going to get mad, but I mean, it's pretty cold. It's going to be 60 degrees with blue skies.
I think I got you beat today.
Do you?
68 today, 73 tomorrow.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
We don't get any sort of cold though. That's about where we're.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of snow, but we'll be out of school a week. So
yeah, no. So I don't know. We've changed. A lot of our sports are like we don't need locker rooms. They've kind of taken the club approach. I don't know if that's good or bad yet. Because we got the kids changing on the field, get kids changing in the parking lot. Obviously, we all know aquatics deck changes is like everyone tells them not to. They're still going to do it. So I don't know if anyone's even. I mean, team meetings. Our coaches watch film on Zoom. Go home. We'll see you on Zoom in like 30 minutes or whatever, an hour. Go home. Go study. I'll see you at 8 o'clock. So I think in that evolution, it's probably been positive for a lot of our coaches. So, but I think our coaches have been forced to look. You get paid $1 an hour as the head freshman football coach. You're like, this is awful. Cross country simple, 22 kids on JV. See you guys at 4. We're just going to run, go home, don't shower at home. I wonder how long showers are going to even be a thing at high school campuses. Wrestling at our school is definitely locker room users for sure, because they're showering immediately after practice every time. But other than that, I don't know where you guys stand on locker room. It's very quiet in our locker rooms now. It's very interesting for me to see. Any thoughts on lockers? Any other, the purpose of this stuff is obviously to get together for 30 minutes or so. You got any just COVID conversation you want to talk about in terms of things you like, things you have questions on, or we can talk about any other split off and chat about whatever you want to be. This is obviously the goal for us is to work with each other across the country to figure out what people are doing and how they're doing it, and try to get better. That's really the case.
I have a question for the group. We have been talking about a meeting space for our basketball officials. I'm just curious what other people are doing. So from our perspective, I've gone back and forth on this. So I was a volleyball player, volleyball coach. And I like, our table set up, we've got our score, you've got all the pieces that you need. And the volleyball officials come in and just like plop their bags down on the table and then are just standing there with the girls who are keeping score. So like in thinking about in terms of like limiting exposure, they're limiting their own exposure in a meeting space room, but they're not necessarily limiting their exposure to the people that they're around, if that makes sense. And so I've been going back and forth for basketball. If they're just going to sit in the gym and they're like directly near someone, is that better than the three of them being in their own room somewhere? I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
The officials in California seem to think they do what they did 2 years ago. That's what I see. So I don't know if that doesn't answer your question, but we're kind of rolling with what was, if that makes sense. So yes, you have a room and it's their choice because they're independent contractors.
Yeah. Okay.
We
That's
put
what I'm
them,
doing.
yeah, we put them in a classroom because we happen to have classrooms like right across from the gym. And I know those get cleaned every night. So I figure that limits exposure like to students for the next day. And then, yeah, if they want to all meet together in a room, that's up to them,
Okay.
Officials have been a little strange in California, well, partially because we have some masking and COVID. It's hard to blow a whistle with a mask on. Number one, you know what I mean? So we're still there. I don't know where everyone is across the country, but that kind of dictates. California COVID policies dictating what we're doing. I think everyone wants to get back to normal. Imagine, Mike, in your world, you're back to normal, room and everything.
Yep, everything. From locker
great.
rooms to officials. That's why I don't have much to add. I'm afraid y'all would kill me, but yeah, pretty fortunate.
Oh, before I forget, and understand it, what about out-of-state travel and overnights? That's one of the topics that people ask to talk for COVID.
Hey, good morning.
You know what I mean? So what are we doing? What are we not doing? What's your school doing or thinking? You know what I mean? I don't know what anyone's doing. I think I'm going to invite Mike to come play football next year, and he's going to say no again. But
Yeah. Hey, we can lose right here. We don't have to go to California.
it's a fact. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be as Lasallian, but okay.
Okay.
Any new policies or protocols with transportation, travel, overnights, any that you're going to maybe implement down the line? I don't know. Maybe people are just going to go back to normal, which would be fine. Right now, we're not traveling out of state, so I'm not quite sure when we'll travel out of state. Actually, multiple states across. A neighboring state, Nevada, is kind of like a whatever, it's right there. But even then, that was it's kind of pulling teeth. But anyone overnights, restrictions, everyone's kind of doing what they do, and that's okay, which sounds great. I know some places are pretty restrictive. I'll be curious to see what people allow or don't allow moving forward. Our coaches don't want to travel because it's too much work. So, but I think they've kind of liked not traveling also. So I'm not quite sure how many people will travel. Is anyone changing transportation? Augie, our world is like, we're going club quickly. See you there at the game.
That's what we're doing for overnight travel. Our boys basketball team is doing that. They're trying it out this weekend to see how it goes. The girls basketball team up here, we're going to be doing Airbnbs, but the boys program last night made a decision that they're going to try this first tournament away and have parents be responsible for lodging their kids to minimize exposure. So that's kind of what we're going to try this weekend.
Airbnbs, you guys use those? Anyone? A lot of our coaches want to use Airbnbs. Augie, does it work?
It works for us. And it's a really good opportunity. We can do our study sessions there. Take 2-3 hours in the morning to do our study sessions. We can do our film there. And it's just a really good opportunity for the kids just to really bond. So I think whenever we can do it, we do it. So it's really good for our program.
So like your cross country team, like let's say 10 people or whatever you're on, it's easy to find a 10 bedroom or 5 bedroom for whatever house or something.
Almost anywhere that we go, and more often than not, it's quite a bit, probably about 30% less expensive than going the traditional hotel route.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty actually interesting theory. Our golf team's going to Palm Springs. Maybe it's cheaper that way.
Yeah, and it's what we do is we have every single person on the team has a responsibility for cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, cleanup, lunch, dinner, making sure everything in the house is running tip top. And so and like I said, it's just a lot easier to do your team bonding activities there, going out for a morning walk after breakfast. You just go right back to your place and you just start study session stuff. I like it, Leo. It's really good.
That is a takeaway that I'm going to actually look into. I want to see. So from an insurance standpoint, Augie, they just treat it like a hotel. You're a CFO.
Yep.
Okay.
We've been doing the same thing for a while. Sorry, I'm mobile. I'm Chris from LaSalle up in Milwaukee, Oregon. But we've been doing Airbnb for, 4 or 5 years now, and it's awesome. The other thing that we're doing this year with travel out of state is we're going to test the kids that aren't vaccinated a couple of days before. But we're not going to test the vaccinated kids. So that's what we decided to do. We have 2 trips scheduled, one girls basketball, one baseball spring break, still on the books. So people want to go.
Leo, we've done it in basketball. When we take Christmas tournament, down in Florida on the beach, it's real easy to find 3, 4, 5 bedroom, either a home or condos inside complexes, and group the kids that way, and then get one for the coaches and the kids. I mean, they enjoy it, pulling in, and these 6 kids are in this 3 bedroom right here, and they think they're grown up. They have their own house type deal, and I don't know. We don't go as far as the cooking. We'll go to the store and grab Pop-Tarts and breakfast stuff and maybe sandwiches and things, but we still go out to eat. But it's a lot different feel than smashed in a hotel hallway.
Yeah,
I'm into it. Trust me. Certain teams, yes. They're obviously
Yeah.
football team. I'm not doing it for the football team, but I get it. No, that's for
Yeah.
for the smaller teams. That's pretty. Even like a state tournament where you only have like 4 or 5 swimmers or something like that. You know what I mean? Or a cup. That's actually.
that's perfect.
Bakersfield, California charges $322 a room for the state wrestling 1 year in advance. And if you guys just to be clear, and we have 14 wrestlers and it costs us $1 bazillion, I feel like. And if I could jam them in an Airbnb, damn, that sounds like a way better idea. It sounds awesome. I might, this is worth the call right now. I just sent a text to all my coaches. We have a travel agent that takes care of our hotel stuff. I wonder if the travel agents will do Airbnb too. Wow, that's interesting deal. So, that's good to know. Well, we're coming up on a half hour, and obviously we want to make them. This is an opportunity for people to see each other from different states. We have Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Oregon, California on here, and obviously the point was to kind of talk about where we're at in COVID and how things are adjusting, how people are doing. Some of the takeaways of communication, locker room, digital, the cashless world was interesting. And obviously out of state travel. I guess the last one is, because we're going through I think there's going to be a variant for every letter in the alphabet, so I'm sure to test or not to test, who is testing at all? We're changing. I'll let you know, Piper, in about 20 minutes what we're doing. So, all right, that's an interesting scenario.
We're actually testing our unvaccinated, but we're no longer doing it on campus. We were doing it on campus, but now we are making those families go off campus to test, but just the unvaccinated.
Are you doing that weekly or how's that working?
Yeah, weekly.
No lawsuits of I'm being centered out, I'm being picked on because I'm unvaccinated?
Not yet. I mean, it's just we're only like we stopped testing on campus October 30th, so we're only a month in on that, and so obviously fall sports pretty much ended right around there, so we're just now into the soccer and basketball for us. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're all gonna have to do COVID protocol when we get our positives, positive COVID test might be here for how many years? Who knows?
Is anyone testing vaccinated students, or is no one doing that anymore? Okay, one.
We're in a more restrictive tier up here in Northern California, where it was almost to the point where, because of our location, our officials weren't going to be able to officiate because they didn't want to officiate with masks and stuff. And so we're even offering testing for them before the games. If they want, it's not mandatory. It's recommended. But for us up here, we have to test twice a week in order for us to have no masks on when we're playing. Otherwise, we have to mask up.
Okay.
We had the unfortunate occurrence where we had a dance, so we tested everybody who wanted to attend the dance, vaccinated or unvaccinated. And we had 4 kids test positive. They were all vaccinated students, but they had to isolate for 10 days. And it sucked because a bunch of them went out and got better tests that proved they were false positives. But our county said they can't come back to school. So it's it's great to test, but at the same time, the false positives are a mess.
That is my number one rationale on our new policy, Piper, just so you know. I think we're done with dealing with parents yelling at us for things that we can't control, especially false positive tests and all the different things. And as we get more active in life, we feel like taking things away from them when they don't need to be taken away is it's going to be, especially when they use the word recommended, not mandatory. Now all of a sudden as a school, we're getting in that, like anytime we're more restrictive, it just brings a whole heap of headache, I think, for no reason. That's just where we sit today. So let's see what my boss says in about 2 hours after he reads my email. But well, we're at 8:30, depending on what part of the world you're at, 11:30. That's probably lunchtime for Mike and Shannon out there. But I'm always good to see different faces, different people from across the country. The goal is obviously to keep the Catholic network together, to kind of help each other. We have our upcoming winter retreat virtual. The schedule will come out. I know you're getting the emails because you're here, which is good. We're planning on being in Georgia, Mike, in the summer, where you can go visit your GoFan headquarters and go talk to your people. They're there, the friendly GoFanners. But then hopefully we can get something live one of these years where we can all kind of spend a day and a half or 2 days to kind of connect the dots of all the different Zoom. It's amazing how the relationships have grown this way, but we really would like to get something in person sooner than later, but obviously still very complicated times to put a ton of effort in there to do it. Go ahead, Mike.
Is anyone going to the NIAAA in Denver in a couple of weeks?
I'll be there.
Okay.
You know what I'll do, Mike and Carlos? I will throw out, and maybe you guys could try to find a time that works to get the Catholic schools together for a happy hour somewhere.
If you're paying, I'm going.
I'll give you. Well, let's see. What's it cost for beer in Tennessee? $1 a beer? Because in California it's about $8 a beer. So
yeah,
I got you. I got you at a couple bucks.
How about this?
How about this? My commitment is to give you a couple $100 to throw out that invite and if you could actually get an email sent to me saying, Leo, here's what I want to do, throw it out. I'll definitely Venmo you cashless money, and we can have a little fun with that. Does that work?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It'll be great. Let me talk to Tamara. She's listening right now. Let me try to see if we can get like a RSVP invite to see who's going, and then we'll go from there.
Google form going or something like that.
Yep, we'll get on it. No problem. Carlos and Mike will be hosting the Catholic National Athletic Association happy hour at the NIAAA. I like it.
Sounds good.
It's awesome. Well, okay. Oh, well, it's great to see everybody. We'll keep in touch, and I'm sure we'll see each other via Zoom next week or two. And